Hi guys, welcome straight to News TV. Obviously, Watford, 3 points. I said this in the preview last week, that these little tiny teams that we keep coming up against, that we used to get wins over, are becoming vital points every single time. And it's happened again. Got another 3 vital points. We're sitting second only to Leicester, who've got a run of games coming up that includes playing us next weekend. And I still think that if we're there and thereabouts before December, who's ruling United out? Who's ruling United out of being title contenders by that point? Anyways, I'm joined today by Dale and Pasha. How are we doing, Dale?
Not too bad, Ian, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, thanks to Grosvenor Casino for my ticket, who's been winding everybody up about my ringside seat for the qualifier, which is absolutely buzzing for Anthony Quella. Well deserved, and a superb body shot in the 5th to just make his dreams come true. So that was superb. Pasha, how are we doing, pal?
Very well, man. It's always a pleasure to speak about United. Thank you for having me on again. Pleasure.
Yeah, I'm glad that we've got some sort of lighting situation in your over in the States now, especially considering that strange poster that's behind you with the bloke's boxes. I thought he was doing some sort of commercials for, I don't know. But yeah, tonight basically wanted to cover about half an hour. Hope you guys are going to stick around, get in the comment section as usual. We're going to talk Watford for a bit, which I can't really talk Watford because I was doing some charity Christmas fair, so I missed the entire game apart from having United's tweets updating me on my phone. So I'm going to leave that to Dale and Pasha to talk about the game, and then we're going to move on to the PSV. And I wanted to briefly touch on obviously this week comes up to 10 years after Georgie Best died. So tributes and stuff like that will come on those as well. So yeah, Dale, what did you make of that Watford game? Obviously, I've just mentioned that he was vital 3 points and the late winner, which is why I've named the late winners. We've not had one of those for ages, and I think we'd like to see some more in actual fact, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. I think to recap on that game, you need to look at the games that surrounded us at the weekend as well. City getting a hammer and Arsenal dropping points. All around it was a good weekend for United. Performance-wise, the game started with Van Gaal playing a 4-4-2, which we haven't seen for some time. It was until Herrera was picked up the hamstring injury and was substituted for was it Rojo, and then we dropped back to 3 at the back, which kind of changed things around slightly. But yeah, all in all, I think it was a positive performance from United. We attacked well. The likes of Jesse Lingard and Martial showed pace up front, and it wasn't exactly the kind of dire football we've been seeing of late.
Yeah, and I think that I'd seen a couple of people, like I spoke to, obviously, being at the MEN for the fight, then you bumped into X amount of Reds. I bumped into 2 of Must's finest, a couple of others as well, who'd watched the game. The lad that I actually ended up going with watched it. He said that it was another really sort of poor performance at times, but we did actually, from the highlights bits that I've seen us create a couple of chances. Jesse Lingard missed a couple. David De Gea saves us on 2 occasions, what I've seen, and especially the one that comes off Smalling's head. I don't know what in Smalling was trying to do then, some sort of Phil Jones-esque type dive to try and get the ball away from the net, but De Gea are very alive to it. So I just like the fact that we came away with the win in the end. Pasha, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was one of those matches that we know that Louis van Gaal's record away from home, we've been struggling, and considering the fact that City and Arsenal have dropped points and how vital of a win that was for us. My honest opinion was that we attacked. We did create chances. We were just not finishing them, and I was really delighted for Memphis Depay, seeing him struggle. And it was a world-class strike, honestly. The volley, the upper 90 he got from a great assist from Hera. But nonetheless, the only thing that I was a little bit shocked about with Louis van Gaal is that when Ander Herrera came off the pitch, I just didn't know why he just didn't do a substitute like for like. Bring maybe Andres Pereira just to keep the shape. He switched the formation to a 3-4-1-2, and that sort of caused some bit of a problem in the sense that we opened up too many gaps for them to attack. As we see Dini, or I like to call him Webby, I feel like they're twins. So that's one of the key things. But nonetheless, it was one of those vital wins that, when you think about it, considering the results over the weekend that our rivals have had, it paid off. And then we got Leicester next, and that's going to be a massive game for us away from home, knowing what happened to us last season there. But a win is a win. It was a nasty one towards the end, but it was great to see finally Fergie time after a couple of years. I believe it was 2 years since I saw something like that. So massive result for us. It wasn't the prettiest. Sometimes it doesn't need to be. But once again, give it to De Gea when you have a world-class keeper like that to keep you in the game. Saving you 15 points a season. That's all it is. And just moving onwards, and we just have to just hope we do a decent job against PSV on Wednesday.
Yeah, we're going to move on to PSV in a bit. I'm just going to pick up on a couple of points there. In actual fact, we've got a tweet in as well. I'm going to read out in a second, which actually probably helps. I'm thinking you talked about Herrera, then he went off, and you were talking about a like-for-like substitution. I think that's what we would want to see when you've got the likes of Lingard and Pereira that can play in those areas of the pitch. Herrera, obviously, beautiful crossing, and Memphis, I think, again, should get his plaudits for finishing that. Not been in the game, not been in the I think he's missed like 6 consecutive games or something, or he's only played 1 in 6 recently. So to be able to just come on, forget what's happened in the past, and try and score a goal like that is quite decent. In actual fact, if you'd have put Rooney on the end of that, would you got the same result? I'm not entirely sure. But another point on Herrera that I wanted to pick up on was the fact his celebration when Bastian scored. Well, not Bastian, he ended up with Troy Deeney, but he nearly took that dugout out on his own. I thought it was hilarious. Just seeing so many vines of him, he nearly put his fist through it. I thought it was quality. So that shows his passion for the club. And then I was just going to knock on to a tweet from Rick Collingwood, who's tweeted in and said, "Got to look at the new team leader for United against Watford. Basti, an excellent signing, brilliant experience and leader." And we can't deny that, because he has been such a great leader on the pitch. He's got such good experience, and I think he's brought a hell of a lot to United that we've needed in there. Everyone's been dying out for a Roy Keane type figure in the midfield for years, but I don't think you're going to get the sort of like flying in tackles, maybe thingy, but you are going to get a leader in that midfield at last. Dale, what would you make of Bastian's performance against Watford? He's dictated games for God knows how many times now, and helped us get some experience. He brought his experience into what would be possibly not the best of midfields, which we've now bulked upon since we've been lacking that for years. Absolutely. And on top of that, obviously creates the last goal, the winning goal, really.
Yeah, I think his performance alone in the first half, when it was a 4-4-2, I thought he was fantastic. Then in the second half, when things had changed slightly, it appeared as though he kind of came more to the left, and he wasn't as central as he was. He wasn't as kind of he wasn't as the kind of focal point that he was at the start of the game. But even to be in that position for that goal, that was a terrific. I think it was Pereira to get that ball to Lingard from the left, with Schweinsteiger far on the right, and just to be in that position when he was speaking after the game, he spoke about just never having that die attitude. The game is never over. If it's 1-1 or whatever, you just never give up. You keep going, and these are kind of things that he was brought up with at Bayern Munich, and things that the likes of Giggsy and and Scholes came through from being at United for so long. It was blooded into these players. He's an out-and-out winner. He brings a lot to this team, an experience mainly. He's not the midfielder he once was in terms of being like ultra fit. He's not as fit as he used to be, and he might be getting to that stage where he never will be. But that doesn't rule him out as being like a total disaster. I think he can offer a lot to that United team. It already has done. The midfield is so much more strength than what it used to be. And just like the way Scholes, he kind of matured his game and things like, I can see Schweinsteiger doing the exact same thing. He's been speaking about being at United for a few years, not just short term, which I think tells you his mindset straight away. He loves where he is. He's enjoying his football still. And he's looking on to the future, spending more time with us. And that, for me, I think is huge. He's going to be an important aspect to this team being successful again.
Yeah, I was going to talk. Obviously, everybody's going to talk about the age of him. He was, what is he, 30, 29 when we bought him. He's only got a few years left on his thingy. But yeah, he's going to essentially adapt his game, and I think United will have to adapt around him as well. And I think that I've also liked, so at times we've sort of cried out for him to be there, but we have got a good backup in Snidlin and in Carrick for the midfield for him. So I think that's another two vital points in the fact that we can build around him and he can come in and out of the team where it's necessary for him to do so. There's a couple of comments I was picking up on. Yeah, Mata was used let down on the number 10 again, sadly, according to. I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name, pal, but you did mention on my Hummel comments before. I'm not entirely sure why we got back to those. But
it's just on that game, with one matter. I've seen a lot of things lately, and look, I'll do more research on it, but from going to reporting at Ireland games and Houlihan being a number 10 that's kind of played a playmaker role in the national team, Martin O'Neill said that he's not a player that he's usually very good at home. That when the team travels, he's not as effective. Now, one matter when he's played away, I don't think he's been as effective either. I think when he's been at home, he's been far more superior. So is this something maybe to do with home team tactics that don't give these number 10s enough room to navigate? Is that down to that? Because look, no one can sit here and say Mata isn't a good player. He doesn't offer that to the team. He's fantastic, and I have a bit of a man crush for him. But when we are on the road, right, he doesn't exactly pull off the same thing he does when we're at home. Hopefully that'll change. But is that down to maybe the way the home team set up when we're on the road?
Yeah, it's a possibility that the tactics change. Obviously, when you go away as a United side, then we should actually have gone away with the same philosophy as we play at home, just to go and break down teams and win games. And possibly it's something to do with players. I'm not entirely sure, but I like Mata as a number 10. He seems. I'm not entirely sure what Louis van Gaal's trying to do with him at the moment. Will he fit into that number 10 role? Or does he like Rooney, who will go back? I think he likes Mata in more of a free role, so he can pop here, there, and everywhere. I remember we played a couple of games back at home, and he appeared on both wings, and I was like, bloody hell are you coming from? You're supposed to be on the right hand side, you seem to be on the left now. But yeah, I think giving him that free range and role, then you can think it possibly when you're away from home. And you want to be tied to and more compact so that you're not getting beat. And Louis van Gaal's all about possession and stuff as well. I think that could be a more possibility idea that he wants to keep him and say, don't go roaming, stay to where your position is, and we'll get it different in that sort of way. I'm going to move on slightly on the basis of the fact we've now got a PSV match coming up. And some people have already mentioned about the PSV match. Pasha, your thoughts on this match coming off the back of the previous results that now we seem to be building some sort of form, a couple of wins under our belt?
Yeah, we have just conceded one goal on Old Trafford. Our defense record this season has been phenomenal. And that's considering the fact that the back four, they have Schneider and Schweinsteiger and Carrick giving a much more of a superior, defensive line. I'm not worried about it. My roommate is a PSV fan. I know I've been watching PSV, so I'm looking forward to they're going to be starting. But to be honest, it's one of those games that if we win, we qualify, and it just comes to the matter of fact that are we going to finish first or second? And then that depends obviously with Moscow, Wolfsburg. But I'm not too worried about it. The only thing that I do want to talk about is that, I feel like Mata is going to be dropped for this game. And if that's going to happen, if Rooney's fit, I believe Rooney's going to play at 10. But nonetheless, I'm not too worried about it because United, we've honestly, what Louis has done, he's made Old Trafford come back into a fortress again. Especially considering the fact that how everybody was talking about, oh, City is going to batter every single team at the start of the season, and they came into Old Trafford trying to get a draw. It just shows you how of a hard ground Old Trafford has become. So I don't think PSV is going to get any points, honestly, and I just think it's not going to be an easy win. I'm not saying that, but I think that we're going to have no problems beating them. So it might not be the most beautiful United way, as we like to call it, attacking kind of style of football, but we're going to get the jump done nonetheless. And to know that we just considered one goal so far at Old Trafford, it's phenomenal. So there should be no problem.
Yeah, our defensive record's superb at the moment, and I like to pick up on your City point because that was just hilarious. I was on my way into Manchester for the fight, as they was literally just finishing their game 4-1 down against the Scousers, and watching them trawling out of the Etihad was hilarious. I'm sure they were taking their empty seats with them. But I've said it time and time again, City they make mistakes, they will concede points where I have not got a clue. I've only just thought.
Just continue. Just continue.
My internet just seems to have cut out for a second. Well, yeah, that City always lose points throughout the season, and they did it against West Ham, was it, a couple of weeks back? And that's what sort of gives me a bit of confidence about a title challenge. Not that we should really be talking about title challenges until after December, probably. Possibly after we play Chelsea, and see where the land lies there. But yeah, the PSV game to me, I don't know. I think it's a strange atmosphere. We mentioned at the start of the show that obviously it falls on the same day as George Best died 10 years ago, so there's going to be tributes, banner behind us in. Watching Dale's face light up now as I say Jason. Stratford and Flags are kindly going to put that there for 3 games, and I'm going to replace it. And then they want to do some sort of strange torch thing that I'm not getting at all. If it looks good or not, I'm not entirely sure. It looks a bit borough. Yeah, that's it. Dale's already in the mood for it for some strange reason. But yeah, I think that. The question will be how much stick will PSV's Mourinho get after he injured Luke Shaw? So
I think the thing is, well, Ian, is the week afterwards, after he put in that tackle against Luke Shaw, apparently he did something very similar again.
Yeah, he did.
And he got away with it second time, didn't he? Or did he get sent off?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. He did that. He did that against somebody else, and he got away with it.
I never like seeing that. I never like seeing players get injured and who the player is. But there's no reason why Bastian Schweinsteiger shouldn't leave a bit of a late elbow in Wednesday night.
Yeah, I remember the incident of him getting. Well, in actual fact, I think the second one was worse than the first one, if I remember rightly. How the hell he's not been banned from football is beyond me. But anyways, yeah, he could be getting a sort of reception.
You get a standing ovation by Roy Keane, though, surely. He said it was a great tackle. I'm not too sure if Roy would be too happy if that tackle was laid on him, to be perfectly honest.
Just reminded me of Keane and Vieira type tackles that they used to throw in at each other. Hilarious. So, what's your thoughts on this game going into it, Dale? Because we have covered it slightly, but I do think that we should be more. I think we should be more focusing on getting this win, because this win then sets us up for going to Wolfsburg in December and getting that first place. And that first place on top of the group is probably going to keep us away from some of the bigger clubs that we're probably, I don't think, need to be facing right now, or especially not into January. So does this then become a key game as much as the rest have been key games as well in the Champions League, because it's been such a tight group?
I think in the group stage of the Champions League, you have to win all your home games. To be perfectly honest, we should be topping this group without a shadow of a doubt, but I'm not too worried. I just want to qualify. Because when you're in the Champions League and people talk about finishing second and not being seeded for the knockouts, and if you finish first place and you can't finish anyone else top the groups, fair enough. But if you're in the Champions League and a team like Manchester United should be competing in the Champions League, you shouldn't fear anyone. And people, they all fear us. If you're going to go far in the Champions League, you have to beat the best to be the best. So I wouldn't worry too much about who we face, because look, we're going to face someone as good as us, if not a bit better at the moment, at some stage or other. So just bring them on. But the game coming up Wednesday night, it's at home. You have to win all your home games. The group stage, it was a disappointing defeat out at Eindhoven. I think it was 2-1. United let me down on a big bet that night. But yeah, it was disappointing. And I did think we should have won. We should come back from that game with 3 points. And I think now there's definitely no excuse at home. You have to win all your home games and hope then out to Wolfsburg in December. And maybe a draw could do it for us.
Yeah, I was going to, someone's just mentioned in the comments about hopefully that CSKA can do a job on Wolfsburg, which would be on United's favour there. But Wolfsburg, for some strange reason, seems to be on some superb form for the Champions League. They've not been unbeaten at home for something like 9-10 games or something. That was ridiculous. So qualification, I reckon, is key. I'd like for United to go top, despite what Dale said about who we should be putting ourselves up against. I think that the progress for this season should be the fact that if we top the group, we can get ourselves past that first knockout stage and do more than what Arsenal are going to do this year again. Oh yeah, they're already out, aren't they? Something stupidly.
They're not out, but it's very unlikely they're going to go through.
Exactly. So Moisey was superb, but Moisey did better than them. That's a good fact for you. Yes, Thomas had just mentioned that CSK are at home too. Yeah, but they weren't really that impressive against us when we went there. Pasha, I'm going to go slightly beyond this PSV game. On the facts, in actual fact, let's go to the PSV game. On the facts that we've got some injuries. Is there any place? I know that we've been putting in younger players in the team or in the squad. Is there any of the younger players you would like to see possibly make an appearance against PSV?
Yeah, simple. If Rooney's out, you're going to play Andres Pereira in the number 10 role. Simple as that. And what I would do is shift, if Martial is available, you shift out Memphis on the left, Lingard on the right, and up top, you're going to put Martial, and right behind him will be Pereira. I think Martial will be dropped, depending on if Rooney and stuff are fit. But nonetheless, I'll change it back forward too. I believe Darwin should be playing at right back because, he's probably going to end up playing against Gaston Pereira or Nastering, and they're both really pacey wingers. And, it could be Smalling and Blind and Marcus Raw as left back, hopefully. But, the thing I do want to say is that PSV honestly struggles away from home a lot. If you look at their Champions League, record so far. So it's just a matter of fact that they come into Old Trafford knowing at how impressive we've been at home, and knowing that if we win, we qualify. So it's just hard for me to just see them trying to get a point against us. But once again, United always does a great job of beating ourselves. So if that's going to be the case, that's how they're going to end up getting points. But nonetheless, I just think that even with the injury list, we still have enough depth. Even if Memphis has to play up top, he played false nine many times for PSV last season, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see some of the younger players, especially given the fact we play Leicester again at weekend, and that's the sort of theme of the next few weeks. Is game after game after game after game. I'm not entirely sure how much he's going to be doing this tinkering, and I can't remember if Martial's supposed to be back, if he's not supposed to be back. They'll do you know, I've spent most of the time on the internet today, but nowhere near United as such. But what do you make of the what Van Gaal's saying about these injuries and them being key, especially with this good run of games that we've got?
Yeah, well, Rooney apparently has an illness from the international break, so you'd expect with an illness he should be back in time. Memphis, he didn't sound too concerned about. Hopefully he's back in time. Or not Memphis, Martial. And Michael Carrick, he said the press got that wrong, and that it's not as bad as they first feared. Looking at what Pasha was saying about the starting 11 and maybe putting Memphis out wide the left and Martial in the centre, like obviously I'd love to see Martial in the centre, but if Rooney's fit, you just fear the worst, and he's going to put him back in there. Following Memphis' finish at the weekend against Watford, and the way he took that ball a full stretch and placed it perfectly into the top corner, I will give him a second go up front, and I'd like to see Martial out on the left. And just the reason being is just the two of them have so much pace, and when Rooney plays and he's lost those yards of pace out, it kind of slows us down a small bit. So either way of playing Memphis out on the left or Martial out on the left and play the other one in the centre, you're adding more pace to that attack. It's certainly an injection of pace, so I'd like to see that. And I think that was a difference against Watford, and we played a 4-4-2 with Lingard and Memphis. The two of them are quick. United attacked with pace, and it wasn't as lackadaisical, it wasn't as dire. You weren't just, sitting there rocking on your rocking chair thinking, when are we actually going to have an opportunity here? And not just pass side to side. It was quick. And I think if you start two of them up top, and maybe drop Rooney back to number 10, as Pasha said, I think you might start seeing that again. Speaking of youngsters, talk to Pereira, and obviously you said, Ian, about having Leicester at the weekend. I think you might see a few youngsters on the bench, and they get the opportunity if we put this game away. This game, Van Gaal will look at it as important as the game against Leicester. We should win two of them without stretching the side too much. And you never know, James Wilson was misfortunate to have a bit of a knock on his knee at the weekend after being promised he'd feature, and that wasn't the case. So with these two big games, one after the other, he might get some game time. Fingers crossed, because you like to see young players getting their opportunity, especially Wilson got his opportunities a few times last year and didn't really take them with open arms. But we weren't creating chances either, so you need to have a bit of sympathy with him in that regard.
Yeah, I'd like to see Wilson come back in actual fact, especially with the fact that we watched how Jesse Lingard has just seemed to go from strength to strength since he came on as half-time from Everton. He seems to have just blitzed it in Watford. He makes a couple of chances that I've seen. Some of you commented in the comment box about that. And there's a couple of comments in there about Leicester. I'm not going to move on to speaking about Leicester until we do it on Thursday. But I think there's keys. I think it's key to keep going on about all these chats. And what we've got at the moment in terms of the fact, yes, we've got a couple of injuries, but we seem to be grinding out results now, and that was basics in many of Fergie's teams down the years, and should be in most top footballers, managers' teams, should be a case of you being able to grind out results, and it doesn't matter what competition as well. So I think that's a key point in making sure that this works. Pasha, what would you think about 6 points out of the next 2 games? Then is that realistic now? I know that we've got a couple of easier games beyond that, but we seem to have got 6 points in the previous 2 games. Is that something that we can now build on? Do you reckon this is a good start of run of form, shall we say?
Yeah, with the fixtures coming up, we should be pretty much on form. But once again, in the King Power Stadium, it's really tough to beat Leicester City, and I still think that we're going to end up winning that just because of how we've been on tremendous form after that Arsenal loss. But it's just a statement, that as much as did any of us actually predict that by now United will be in second place, and Christmas is coming up. You know what I mean? It's just that United, we just made a statement that, listen, we're up there. We're not gonna back out any moment. And with the signings we've spent and the players that Louis van Gaal has brought, we're gonna be challenging Andre. So every game needs to be a statement. If the Leicester City that's the game that we're gonna be like, listen, we know how great of a team you guys have been this season so far, but once we beat them, we just need to keep going. So 6 points, I still think, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, I still think we're going to draw points against Leicester. I think we're going to get a draw. But against PSV, we're definitely going to batter them. I just don't see PSV beating us, especially at Old Trafford. So just my personal opinion. And that's just because of how...
Can we confirm in the comment section tomorrow at full-time Pasha that we are going to batter PSV?
Yeah, I think we're going to batter the shit out of those Dutch fuckers. I'm not even kidding after that thing. So it's not going to be a surprise to me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But once again, it's just the thing with me is that United like to beat themselves. So hopefully if that's not the case, we're going to be just marching onwards. So that's that. And we don't have to worry about Coughlin or anything. So we have enough.
The first leg, I know we were away from home playing the Dutch champions, but you were still kind of wary of them in some respect. Yes, they lost their best player, who joined us in the summer at Memphis Depay. But still, even though we're at home and we should be winning all our home games of the Champions League, I'm kind of fearing that we can't underestimate these lads.
No, I'm not saying we should underestimate them. I just feel like if you look at PSV's track record against from home, right, in the Champions League so far, right, and just to see that the record that we have so far, our defensive record at home, right, and the way we've been playing at home, not the best style of football, but just dominating complete position, with the players they have, it's going to be very hard for them to break us down, considering that the players that keep switching on the flank, because they're still a very young team if you look at the sense of age-wise. We should never, I'm not saying we should, the thing is, if you're trying to be that cocky mentality, trying to underestimate, we're Manchester United, we should beat every single team, we're going to lose every single game, But I just feel that PSV at home it's going to be one of those games, knowing that we're going to go to the Champions League, is something that Louis van Gaal wants to get. We're going to batter them, and I hope we do, because my roommate is Dutch, and he took the piss out of me when they won, right? And that game that we lost was just because of Luke Shaw's, the mentality of players to see one of their, players, colleagues basically just happening that. So it was just a mentality. So we're going to come in, that's a game, revenge for us, and, to do it for the anniversary of George Biz. I mean, our own players after that are going to go on a piss, so let's just batter them. I'm sick and tired of hearing about PSV, and he keeps texting me about it, so no, I'm not worried about it. So, yeah, I think we're going to batter him. That's just my personal opinion.
I can picture Van Hagen in the dressing room tomorrow night saying, we're going to batter him.
He's going to light a cigar after the game.
Going to light a cigar after the game. Just just invite the opposition manager for a stiff drink as well before he gets back on the plane. Rick Hollywood's tweeted us back in again and talking just on this week. There's confidence there, and I'm liking the confidence of the lads in the comments that were coming across from Pasha and Dale there. But Rick's put, last 6 games that PSV have played, they've won 5 and drew 1, so they've not conceded. They've not lost a game. Luke de Jong, with 12 goals this season, they've hit 6 twice. United need to be solid. And then he tweeted afterwards as well.
Shit, man. We have small Dini, man. Luke Young, fuck him. He ain't gonna do shit.
I can picture Van Gaal saying that as well.
There's tactical talk and then there's motivational talk coming from Pasha.
Nelson Pereira, he's a threat if he plays. That's it. Luke de Jong, no way. He's just a overrated, Dutch little fucking player in the Dutch league that people just say have 12 goals. He's shit, man. I've watched him play. He's fucking better off playing the reigning.
Okay, now we're going to start Pasha on a rant in a minute. Just another note, just to sort of wrap up, as we've had about 40 minutes now. On the fact that Darmian might be on his way back. Now, I liked Darmian at the start of the season. And I said then that I think he'll be a 7 out of 10 player every single game. And for some reason, he just lost his confidence a couple of games back and has not gained it back since. Dale, would you put him back in the side for this PSV match, even if it was 45 minutes, just to get that match flow back?
Yeah, of course. I think what actually I got a message from Serge. He wants to join in. Needs the password in. So I might send it to him while I answer your question. Yeah, I think I would throw him back into the mix. When he started the season and even on pre-season, so he was ultra solid. Like, he actually possibly started his United career way too well, and it upped their expectations of him way too high. And there was even talk of him being the best right back in England at the time, which I even put my hand up and said, in his form, you couldn't argue against that. He had a bad trip against Arsenal, where Sanchez tore him a new one. He got bad press after that, but to write him off after that would have been totally wrong. Players have ups and downs, and this is his first year in England. You look back at Patrice Evra and Manjevic, who's found it difficult to settle, and over time they were the best players in their position, arguably, in the league. So Darmian's going to find it hard to settle in England. Of course I play him, because only through playing he's going to learn what it's like playing for United, what it's like playing with his teammates, England, Europe. I'd play him as often as I could. Valencia is out now for 3 months. He's not a right back, but for some reason Van Gaal fancies Valencia there. Definitely I'd bring Darmian back into the team as quick as possible, and hopefully he can get back into that good run of form, because when he was in that run of form, like I said, there wasn't a right back better than him in England. And he didn't get voted the best right back of the European qualifiers with Italy for no reason.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see him, like I said, I would like to see him going back into the team. I'm going to ask you guys what you're saying in the comments in a second. I'm going to read through them and see what you'd say about Darmian coming back. Pasha, would you echo those thoughts that Dale just said about bringing him back?
Yeah, of course. If Dale remembers, he was one of those players that I, specifically even for a weird link, I was like, we need a right back, and Darmian is a player we need to buy. I've been watching this guy, and yes, he has his moments and stuff, but he's one of those players that, listen, welcome to the EPL, right? Fine. Alexis Sanchez, how many right backs could put up with Alexis Sanchez, So, I mean, he has his dips in form and stuff, but Ashley Young obviously has right back, and they got Nasri and Gustin Pereira. They got PSV has some pacey wingers, so, and I just feel that it's just a right thing to do. Like, he's fit, why not start Darmian, to get his.
I will back that up for you, Pasha. I remember asking you a solution for right back if Raphael was to leave, and before Darmian mentioned as United target, he was one you did like. So definitely, you're not talking through your arse there. You did say that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I've watched Darmian play, and he was more suited with the wing-back position, but he's a quality player, and people in Italy would tell you he's the best Italian right-back they've had in in many years so far. So in the recent, I mean, not many years, in the recent years. So it's just the right solution. Antonio Valencia unfortunately is out for a couple of months. So and then oh god, we have Surgeon. So before I finish, I just want to say he should play. Oh god, it's Serge.
Awful.
Did Serge just join just to say awful?
Yeah.
No, he's got it.
Come on, Serge, contribute. What are your thoughts on
Alright,
your Darmian coming back into the team after being torn new one against Arsenal a few weeks or a month back?
I mean, I think he was kind of brought back down to earth after that game, wasn't he? You know, we were all kind of, singing his praises, and then the Arsenal game he came along, and it was just like, oh no, not quite, not quite the Gary Neville or whatever everyone else made him out to be.
Paul Parker.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. He needs time. How old is he? He's only young, isn't he?
Yeah, and like I said before you came on, you need to look back at Patrice Evra and Manjovic, who had tough spells when they first came.
Do you remember when they first came? How bad they were?
Exactly.
You got to give these people time, It can't be, oh, he's shit. Play Valencia instead. Guy can't cross. Guy can't cross for toffee. Can't cross for toffee. Good job he's injured. Hope we sell him. Crap. Shit.
It's harsh. Poor Tony V.
Oh, don't start. Robbing a living. Him and Rooney.
The Surge comes on with a bang.
Meet me dinner. Just play footy.
I was about to say he seems to be on. I just spotted the shoulders of a United Adidas shirt there, and I thought, hang on a minute. Surge has gone.
What? Get my kit off?
Your full kit on. Full kit. Yeah. Socks, shorts, shin pads.
No full kit. No full kit. No.
Adidas Stretfords.
No, I'm wearing Nike's. Nike. What were they called? Shorts.
Is it an absolute disgrace? I love how Serge come on and sort of gate crashed.
Carry on.
Serge, an extra flat. Serge, on this point, why we put you on? Your thoughts on Watford and the PSV match?
Then? Well, the Watford game, I put it down to a 2-2, and I was very nearly right, wasn't I?
I know you tweeted me that. I was like that. Oh, great, he's going to start here, now, isn't he?
To be fair, I was surprised that they came they came out so weak to start off with. I thought they'd come out raring with, especially with the amount of injuries we'd had. I thought that they would they'd be really up for it. Thought they were all right. Nothing to really sing and dance about Watford. We were very weak, but we seemed to play. They played very well together. Schweinsteiger especially, I thought they played phenomenally throughout the game. And he really controls the game. He deserved his goal. I know it was an own goal, but he deserves it to be his goal.
Yeah, and I'm going just before you go on to PSV, someone's commented asking what you're actually eating. Pasha replied, "My shit," but I presume it's not that, unless he's emailed it you over.
I'll show you now. 1 minute.
Oh, there we go. It's going to get technical.
There you go. We got a bit of chicken with meat inside of it, and then some vegetables. And that's what misses.
People tune in here to get a review of Leicester and a preview of PSV are probably nodding their heads thinking, what the fuck are these lads on?
I reckon that most of our viewers actually got used to the bollocks that goes on our show.
We're just a bunch of United fans talking United. We don't have any kind of structure. We do what we want, and we're just a bunch of good United fans, and people go. We actually go to the games. We don't just sit here and chat United.
Yeah, and we don't charge 20 quid, right?
No comment. I'm Jewish. I need to charge all the money I can.
So yes, Serge is worse than the Glazers at times when he wants to be. There's the answer to was it Mohammed? Mohammed in the comments was asking what Serge is on tea-wise, whatever you want to call it. PSV thoughts then, Serge. Pasha reckons we're going to smash them. There's the run of games that they've been on for the past 6. They won 5 and drew 1. I'm started putting on an air of caution, but Pasha wants to rape them. What your thoughts on it?
I think the Champions League. I mean, we all know Champions League is very different to domestic leagues. You know, you can't compare the two. The two. Yeah, the Dutch league is incredibly poor as it is. So, you know, it's not really much to go by if we're going to talk, you know, on that wavelength. I think.
I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but we have lost Serge. Celebrations from Dale. And in the middle of that one, Jonathan decided to send me a WhatsApp message. So pretty much might as well get him to join in as well, where we're just have another reunion.
Is this going to be a 24-hour show or what?
24-hour show, yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting to be playing another 10 minutes after, but Serge gate crashed and joined in everything else, and I thought it was quite a good laugh. I hope everybody else is finding a good laugh as well. That's a good point. I think Rick got some of his statistics wrong there. That's helpful, pal. Anyways, on that note, now that Serge has disappeared, we hope you enjoyed this, guys. We're going to be back on Thursday with similar type show, review of the PSG, and then on to the Leicester game, and basically stop Vardy from scoring that 11 out of 11 goals is going to be key. But until then, get your comments in below if you're watching this after we've done it live. And subscribe in the bottom corner. It's just easy to press the button. Thanks to Dale and Pasha and Serge, I suppose, for coming on and enlightening our evening with their thoughts about United. And we will see you on Thursday. So, cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.